Agit Nerev Shabbos Kodesh, Friday, Parsha Shlach Lecha Chuv Zayin 7 Tuvshin Pai Vov, June 12, 2026. My name is Gershy Schwarcz and I'm your host on Edge.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.
Well, yesterday, America almost bombed Iran again, for the third time. Now today, they're calmly talking about their new agreement. And we have the latest details soon. A massive fire tears through a Jewish-owned business in London. Millions of dollars worth of equipment have gone up in flames. A giant mystery appeared in the heart of Washington. Federal investigators are looking into a huge number. Yes, you can imagine what number that is. It has something to do with Comey. Do you remember? Yes? 8647 carved into the grass near the World War II Memorial. Today's news is presented to you by Kosher Skinny Shot. Healthy living with real guidance every step of the way with a little pinch. Now I know I said that, and a caller called me and telling me that you don't even feel it. They take the Kosher Skinny Shot besides feeling refreshed and energized every single day. 845-456-8924. See what they can do for you, and you can enter to win a free month if you call me on 845-671-1775. You press 5, leave your name and number, and Kosher Skinny Shot on Edge, and you will enter to win a free month. All right, let's continue into the news, shall we? All right, we begin with breaking news out of Midland, Texas. This morning, a gunman opened fire on people in the street near West Wall Street and Business 20 in the middle of the city. One person was killed. 11 more were shot and wounded. 9 of them are in the hospital right now for surgery. 4 of them in surgery. And here is the story behind it. Police say this all started 2 days ago with a simple traffic stop. The driver shot at the officers and got away, and had been hiding there ever since. Now, this morning, officers finally tracked him down, and that's when he started shooting at everyone around him. He then barricaded himself inside a building, and after an hours-long standoff with SWAT teams, the city confirmed the gunman is dead. Mayor Lori Blong said, "Our thoughts and prayers are absolutely with the victims and their families." The United States was exactly 3 hours away from launching a massive military attack on Iran. Then, as we reported yesterday, President Donald J. Trump suddenly cancelled the strike, as expected, I would say, and announced a temporary ceasefire agreement instead. That's because Iran completed its latest draft agreement on Wednesday night. The breakthrough came after the U.S. attacked Iran one day after another. Once signed, the deal will be called the Islamabad Agreement, named for the talks in Pakistan with Qatar and Pakistan as the mediators. On Truth Social, Trump wrote, based on the fact that the discussions with the Islamic Republic of Iran have been brought to the highest level of Iranian leadership and approved, I have, as President of the United States of America, cancelled the scheduled strikes and bombings against Iran this evening. This follows a violent week where Iran shot down an American helicopter, the Apache, and fired missiles at Israel, Bahrain, Jordan, and Kuwait. Since the start of the war, American strikes have damaged more than 50 Iranian military bases and warships. That's now confirmed by satellite images. Under the new plan, the Strait of Hormuz will open immediately, they say, without tolls. But Iran is insisting that Oman will help them manage the strait, and the US has not agreed to that. When this idea first came up 2 weeks ago, Trump shut it down bluntly. Oman will behave just like everybody else, or we will have to blow them up as well. They understand that. They'll be fine. And today, Iran said it again. Their news agency reported, the Fars news agency, that the strait's future will be decided by Iran and Oman only, and, with their words, no American role. So, until the paper is signed, Trump said that the naval blockade will remain in full effect and full force. For now, other parts of the agreement, there isn't much complication, obviously. That's what they say. There will be a 60-day ceasefire that extends into Lebanon. Iran will receive temporary permission to sell oil. Iran could also start using its frozen money in Qatar to buy humanitarian goods like food and medicine. The proposal also states that Iran will never acquire a nuclear weapon. What exactly happens with Iran's enriched uranium is being left for the next round of talks, they say, and that's a big open question for the 60 days. Trump called the agreement very strong, and he even claimed that Iranian Supreme Leader Mujtaba Khamenei approved it. Trump said, quote, "We won this war. The only thing we didn't win is the fake news." And just so everyone is aware, the document that the US and Iran are discussing is called the Memorandum of Understanding. That's all it's called, an MOU. It is a document that only outlines their intentions, but it is not a finalized contract or an actual deal. This means that negotiations will still be continuing for a very long time, as you can imagine. This announcement of this memorandum of a memorandum of agreement shocked Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. His office clarified that Israel is not a part of this agreement, but they welcomed the promises. They think this would stop Iran's ability to support terror groups. So eventually Trump posted, quote, "Discussions and final points have been, in both concept and great detail, approved by all parties involved, including the United States, Israel, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Turkey, Pakistan, Bahrain, Kuwait, Jordan, Egypt, and others." Trump said, "They're all very happy. The whole Middle East is happy and long beyond the Middle East." Vice President Vance and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff will represent Trump at the signing ceremony being prepared in Geneva, Switzerland. 4 U.S. aircraft, Air Force cargo planes, already left yesterday, with equipment for the trip. Meanwhile, here is what Tehran is saying. Iran's foreign ministry said that the memorandum of understanding is now under internal finalization. They still insist no final decision has been made, since every detail of the text still requires approval from the regime authorities. Their news agency Fars put it flatly, Iran has not approved any draft agreement, directly contradicting Trump's claim that Tehran agreed to finalize a text. And whatever is circulating so far, they're calling media speculation. But while the foreign ministry calls it all speculation, Iran's own Mehr news agency published a list of their demands for the agreement. There are a few terms that stand out, some the US has not announced even. This includes the release of $24 billion of frozen Iranian funds. And they want half of this to be released before the talks even begin. They also want the US to stop negotiating about their support for terrorist groups. Reacting to this, US Vice President J.D. Vance explained, "I'm seeing a lot of fake information about a potential deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and Iran's nuclear weapons program. First, the Iranians are not receiving any cash, and no funds are being released for the simply signing a deal or attending a meeting." Trump also got very angry about this list. He posted on Truth Social, "The terms that Iran leaked out to the fake news have nothing to do with the terms that were agreed to in writing. What they said, including their weak," he says, weak as in W-E-A-K, "and pathetic statement on having a deal bears no relation to the truth." Now, I sound like him saying they came by sea, like as in not sea, as in sea. I sound like him as saying that. Okay, like Trump. Okay, "Very dishonorable people to deal with," he says. "With them, there is no such a thing as dealing in good faith. Amazing. Also, their totally rebuffed drone attack last night against Indian ships leaving the Hormuz Strait is totally unacceptable. They better get their act together, and fast," he says. And then, just hours later, that furious post came the turnaround. Iran's foreign ministry Minister Abbas Araghchi posted that the agreement, quote, "has never been closer," end quote. He asked the media to stop speculating and promised, in his words, quote, "all details will be shared with the public in due course," end quote. And he even used the deal's official name himself. He called it the Islamabad Memorandum of Understanding. And Trump's response, question mark, obviously, he posted a screenshot of Araghchi's statement on Truth Social, approvingly. Now that the drone attack Trump mentioned in his post, here is what exactly happened. Thursday night, yesterday, Iranian forces targeted commercial ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. forces obviously shot down 2 of the Iranian one-way attack drones. An explosion also happened near Iran's Sirik coastline, but the cause remains unclear. From the beginning of the war until this very morning, every word Trump said, Iran wants to make a deal. They should have signed the deal. I told them to sign. Just do it, big caps, before it is too late. There will be a deal. We will come to an agreement with Iran, and they will have to agree. It will be a great deal, or we will bomb them. Iran will be hit hard tonight. No, but they're great negotiators. The Persians are great negotiators, crazy, violent people, wonderful people. They're killing their people. 45,000 people killed, hanging people. There is a new regime change, a smarter group, a group that has reason. Their nuclear sites completely and totally obliterated. Yes, obliterated. That's the word. It's a real word. They must surrender. Unconditional surrender. They have to, or else we will strike them. Dishonorable people. They lie. They cheat. Nobody trusts them. They're great negotiators. Fake news is terrible, by the way. But they're more rational now. They've agreed at the highest level, and they have not agreed. They have agreed on most things. The deal is better than ever. Everybody's happy. The whole Middle East is happy, and the blockade stays in full effect. We won the war. And Iran, their official position, as of this morning, we are in the final stages of internal review. We all know what the institutions are meeting, basically, in Iran, and the institutions are always meeting. So, That's where we stand going into Shabbos, furious at sunrise, never been closer by noon, and Motzei Shabbos comes, and yes, kosher skinny shot. Let's continue with that, shall we? What if weight loss wasn't the goal? What if the goal was feeling better every single day? That's what kosher skinny shot is all about. If you call them, you'll find out more energy, less cravings, better habits, more control. Kosher Skinny Shot is a program with real guidance, accountability, and people helping you stay on track. Sign up today, 845-456-8924. Again, the number is 845-456-8924. And because we at On Edge partnered with them, one lucky winner gets a free month. You call my number on 845-671-1775 and press 5. That's again, the number is 845-671-1775. You press 5, you say your name, telephone number very clearly. No noise in the background, please, because otherwise you can't go into the drawing. Again, you'll win a 1 month free. Yes, quick disclaimer. Compounded medications are not FDA approved and require a doctor's prescription for safety information, and Kosher Skinny Shot can help you with that, so ask them and ask your own provider, obviously. All right, let's continue the news, shall we? Israeli forces have captured the southern Lebanese village of, I can't pronounce this place, I'll try to, Genduria. Afterwards, they took control over the northern Wadi al-Saluki area. Forces from the 7th Armored Brigade and the Egos Commando Unit battled with Hezbollah. They fought with them, back and forth, fire. In the end, Israeli soldiers killed around 50 terrorists and destroyed their tunnels and weapons stockpiles. That happened over the course of the week. Troops also found explosive devices, anti-tank missiles, and launchers. In southern Lebanon, an Israeli Air Force strike killed another Hezbollah terror cell. The terrorists were attempting to escape a tunnel network under the Beaufort Bridge. But a military drone saw one of them hiding underground, so Israel launched air attacks and killed them right away. In the Gaza Strip, the Israeli military carried out heavy overnight strikes across different areas. Before the bombing, the military dropped a small warning device on one of the roofs. They wanted the people to evacuate before the building was struck. Even with all the defeats, the IRGC, the Quds boss, Ismail Qani, is still talking big. Threatening, he said this week, supporting the resistance in Lebanon is the duty of all of us, and eliminating Israel from the region is an achievable goal. But Lebanese President Joseph Aoun is open to negotiations. He said, negotiations is safer than war. We have no other choice. Negotiations is not surrender. And he challenged the Israelis directly on CNN. We are ready, willing and committed. Are you? With a question mark. The problem is Hezbollah doesn't even want to talk. They formally rejected the ceasefire agreement with Lebanon. Remember that? All right, let's continue. A large fire broke out overnight at a Jewish-owned business in northwest London. Next to Golders Green, the fire happened at a warehouse on Oxgate Lane in Brent. The building belongs to SVS Productions, a Heimische company that does sound, lighting, and staging at simchas, bar mitzvahs, chasanas, community events. Around 150 firefighters, 25 fire trucks were sent to the scene. The London Fire Brigade received more than 85 emergency calls beginning about 9:15 p.m. last night. At the height of the fire, most of the two-story warehouse and its roof were burning. About 70 people were evacuated from a nearby residential building. Thankfully, no injuries have been reported. The fire has been brought under control, but parts of the building are still burning. The company said it may have lost up to £3 million worth of equipment. Now, even with this intensity, the London Fire Brigade said that the fire is not being treated as suspicious. A quick follow-up on the story we brought you yesterday, the ISIS plot in New Jersey. Somebody called me about this. I didn't spare much detail about which shul this ISIS member targeted. Well, many of you asked, Tucker, which shul? Here's the honest answer. Nobody knows, because the federal authorities have not named it. On purpose. The court documents say only that it was a Jewish place of worship near the suspect's home in Wayne in Passaic County. That's all they're saying. What we can add today, he faces up to 20 years in prison. He was held without bail, obviously, and the FBI says they were watching him and actually tricking him to catch him, by the way, from the very first chat room, months before he could even act. And at that last part is the real story. The system worked, and they were inside before they even got close. That's basically what I said yesterday. If you remember the story, if you followed me, then you know about it. Okay, this afternoon at 2:30, well, now, actually, at the Atrium Ballroom on Route 59, Gedolei Yisrael will be greeted at a special Ma'amad Kavod HaTorah as part of the historic Keren Olam HaTorah mission to America. Keren Olam HaTorah is the emergency fund supporting the yeshivas and kollalim of Eretz Yisrael after the government cut more than $100 million in funding for them. And this is just the beginning. A full delegation of Gedolei Eretz Yisrael arrives in America this Sunday, with stops planned across the country. One piece of history in the itinerary, Rav Lando Shlita is expected to travel to Los Angeles as well, his first visit ever to the West Coast. A new computer scam is stealing money from people trying to donate to Adirai HaTorah. The Lakewood Project raises millions of dollars for yeshivas Bismedrish Gavoya. Now, the organization found out about a fake website on Wednesday. Scammers are sending text messages to public with a link to a fake donation page. The fake website was built to look exactly like an official page, but the website address leaves out the English letters H and A, spelling Adirai Torah instead of Adirai, real name Adirai HaTorah. Some people were already tricked and sent money to the fake website. The case was given to the police, and they have started an official investigation. Representatives are asking anyone who lost money to contact authorities to help them catch the scammers. The good news is the fake website has already been taken down, and the payment company froze the scammer's account. Adirai HaTorah says no donor financial information was stolen, only some names, emails, and phone numbers. And remember, the only real website is Adirai HaTorah.com with an H-A. People are being asked to daven and recite Tehillim for the Rosh Yeshiva of Brisk, Rav Avrum Yeshia Soloveitchik Shlita. He was rushed back to the hospital again on Thursday. The Rosh Yeshiva had major heart surgery last week. He was taken back to the hospital because he had a complication from the operation, obviously. This caused his health to get a little bit worse. The sudden hospitalization has caused widespread concern among thousands of Talmidim and members of the community. A call has gone out in Yerushalayim asking of Klal Yisrael to daven for Rav Avruam, for Harav Avrum Yeshia ben Etel, L'Rafia Shalayim, Shabbos Yom Lizik L'Fia Krev L'Uvei. A United Nations official named Francesca Albanese is facing heavy criticism from Israel's UN ambassador. Sonja Bol Denker, the mother of Caroline Hashem Yinkon Duma, a 22-year-old girl murdered by Hamas at Kibbutz near Oz on October 7th. The mother described attending an event in Berlin honoring Albanese and said, "I have never been in a room where I felt so much hatred." Albanese's response to this grieving mother is two words: change medication. Ambassador Danny Danon fired back. There seems to be no limit to Francesca Albanese's moral decline. She is an anti-Semite, for those of you who know, and she's actually under sanctions in the US. Now, we all know the man who realized later in his life that money doesn't buy happiness, because Elon Musk has come far from getting rejected from a job at Netscape in 1995 to being the world's first trillionaire today. This happened because his company, SpaceX, is selling its stock to the public for the first time today. The stock will trade on the Nasdaq market at $135 for each share. This gives SpaceX a total value of almost $1.8 trillion. This makes it the largest public stock sale in history. The sale raised $75 billion in one day. Now, the investment company BlackRock bought at least $5 billion of these shares, and the stock jumped 30% the moment trading opened. Here is the part nobody is talking about. More than 4,400 SpaceX employees, current and former, including welders and technicians who took shares instead of bigger paychecks, became millionaires today. About 400 of them are now worth over $100 million each. Welders, technicians. Imagine that. But SpaceX completely blocked Chinese investors from buying any stock. Because they are blocked, Chinese investors are now using digital methods to buy into American technology companies. In response, Chinese space companies are preparing to sell their own stocks to compete with American companies. And this morning, ringing the open bell from his rocket base in Texas, Elon Musk said, "I gave SpaceX a less than 10% chance of succeeding at all." Musk once explained his approach to business, saying, when something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. In other words, the man who was basically ignored or not looked at Netscape, who doesn't even know if it exists still, became the world's first trillionaire. Also on Truth Social, Trump showed a photo of guns sold by Mexican cartels. He wrote, "These are the weapons that we're seizing from Mexican cartels. They are killing thousands of Americans each and every year." What does that have to do with Musk? Nothing, exactly. That's why we say the news. We just tell you stories. Millions of Americans are expecting severe thunderstorms this weekend. In Illinois, the severe weather caused major destruction. Video footage showing a tornado with severe destruction in the city of Strater. 2 more tornadoes were confirmed in southwest Illinois, and another round of severe weather is expected to hit McLean County. The severe weather is also extends into Indiana, where a tornado heavily damaged several homes in the town of Maryville. The immediate Chicago metro area was also placed under a tornado warning. Federal authorities are investigating a giant mysterious number drawn into the grass on the National Mall in Washington. The number 8647 appeared near the World War II memorial. The grass was turned brown from the massive shape, but it is not yet clear how it was done. The number 8647 is a slogan used by opponents of President Donald J. Trump. It combines the slang term 86, which means to get rid of something, and 47 since Trump is the 47th president. And those of you remember, that's why Comey is in trouble. The former FBI director, James Comey. Park police responded at the scene, and the grass samples are currently being tested to see who it was. And the timing. It appeared just days before huge crowds filled that exact spot for the UFC fight on Trump's birthday. Yes, this Sunday, his 80th birthday. And more on that in a few minutes, but we'll talk about that story, and later, obviously, the 250th anniversary of American independence. Yes. Protobyte, 347-354-1237. You know what Protobyte does. You can check out their website on proto-byte.com. Mention on Edge to get a good deal. They can design you software, the best designers out there who get you the job done. Fast, good. They give you a full plan. You don't have to think about it. You just say the idea, they design it for you. 2 top defense officials in the United Kingdom just resigned from their jobs. UK Defence Secretary John Haley and Armed Forces Minister Al Khans both quit. I think it's AI Khans, whatever. Al Khans both quit their job, and they said that the military does not have enough funding. Haley strongly criticised Prime Minister Keir Starmer for not spending enough to keep the country safe. Right after Haley left, Armed Forces Minister Al Khans also resigned. Following the departures, Dan Jarvis was named as the new Defence Secretary. Haley is already the 7th minister to quit, to leave the government in 1 month, and members of Starmer's own party are openly calling for him to resign. UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer then put out a statement. He said, "It's incorrect to claim I have lost authority." Well, only time will tell. Speaking of time, the New York Times revealed today that the United States is planning a major reduction of its military forces assigned to NATO and Europe. The plan was quietly sent to allies earlier this month. They will now cut the number of American fighter jets in the region from 150 down to only 100. Maritime trackers saw the planes will also be reduced from 26 down to 15, and all aerial refueling planes will be completely withdrawn. The drawdown also includes removing an attack submarine, an aircraft carrier, multiple warships, and one of its 2 bomber groups assigned to Europe. Why ask Capital Group? I'll tell you why. Because if you need to borrow some money to buy a building, the best way to do that is by borrowing directly from the lender himself. Because you can actually negotiate the rates, and you can negotiate the idea of the closing costs, which are, by the way, completely free. There's no closing costs, no fees. 718-831-2168. You call YS Capital Group today, you mention on Edge, and you guarantee yourself a good deal. Again, the number is 718-831-2168. YS Capital Group, because YS Capital Group, when you can go YS Capital Group. Did you understand this? Exactly right. An octagon fighting cage is now officially in place on the south lawn of the White House. Donald J. Trump unveiled the new UFC venue, which is being called The Claw. This massive structure will host an event called UFC Freedom 250 on June 14th, which will also celebrate Trump's 80th birthday. He's turning 80, the man. This event is costing $60 million, and 4,300 guests will be on the lawn itself. Most of them military families, with 85,000 more watching from the, I think it's called the Ellipse next door. That's what it's called. Anyway, being proud of the UFC cage, Trump said that there is high demand for the tickets to this show. He also joked about it. Maybe we'll never, ever take it down. Let's talk about never ever taking something down. Arrive Express never says no for an answer. 845-622-1111 or 845-254-1111. You can download the app. They have an amazing app. ArriveExpress.com. All right, now let's. Well, I would say that's it for today. Yeah, there's nothing else to say. I thought there's more news. And yeah, wishing you all and your families a good Shabbos. And maybe only here to see the Stovers. My name is Gershy Schwarcz, and I'm your host here on Edge.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours. Powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.